This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Tuesday, August 22nd. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, an environmentalist who is doing her PhD at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus recognizes the importance tradition of crabbing in Barbados. But she's also concerned about the lack of research data about the population size of the crabs that are caught each year. Speaking during an interview with CBC News on location at the recent annual crabbing night in St. Andrew, Nadasheen Nashida said a census of the crabs would be a good place to start.
I think we need to be conscious about taking crabs every single year. We need to understand the biology, reproductive biology of these crabs. The species that they're taking is Cardisoma gunabi, mainly, which is known as the blue land crabs. And to a lesser extent, they take G. carcinus ruricola, which is a black land crab. But I've been coming to these crab events, this is like 3 years now. I think the first one that I came to was in 2019. And based on that event, the perception that I got from the locals is that they don't really fish or they don't really crab the black land crab because they don't really take the black land crabs because they think that it's known as the duppy crab locally, so they don't really eat that crab, so they focus mainly on the blue land crab, Cardisoma gunabi. And this is a yearly event that, every year they come, we have these crab night events, which is amazing. I mean, it's good for the parish of St. Andrew, but we also need to be conscious of taking from the population every year. We have no information about population size. We have no information, we don't know how, well, based on the literature or based on science, we know that it takes about 3 to 4 years for these crabs to reach sexual maturity. And by reaching sexual maturity doesn't mean that they reach this really large size that you can harvest them. It just means that they're able to reproduce after 3 to 4 years.
She says being able to track the gender and size of the crabs being taken is therefore very important. Ms. Parsam says to avoid a worsening situation, there are some immediate steps that need to be taken. The Morning Report will be right back.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is...
On Wednesday, Republicans are set to hold the first debate of the 2024 presidential race, kicking off the contest to determine who will be the party's candidate to take on United States President Joe Biden. However, former president and current front-runner Donald Trump says he'll be skipping the debate.
He's posted on his social media site that he believes voters know how successful his presidency was. He's currently the front runner for the Republican nomination. That's despite the former U.S. president facing 4 trials and a recent indictment for attempting to overturn the 2020 election in the U.S. state of Georgia. Trump's got until midday on Friday to voluntarily surrender to Georgian authorities. Well, for more on this, we're going to go to Alan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia. So do we have any idea when Trump is expected to appear in court, Alan?
Well, we know Rob, that he's got to turn up here sometime before lunchtime on Friday, along with the 18 other co-conspirators, as they've been indicted in the document lodged with the court in Georgia and from the jury here. We do know that Kenneth Chesebrough, who's one of the accused, one of the 19 on the list, his lawyers have just walked into the court. They say they're going to talk to legal officials there about the bail and how all that would work. So we're going to see a drip over the next few days. But many people would suspect that Donald Trump is going to time his arrival for maximum impact. So Thursday seems to be the day that he'll be here in Georgia. And why on Thursday? Well, on Wednesday there is the Republican debate. And if he appears on Thursday, that will suck all the air out of the post-match analysis of the debate. Who won, who did well, who landed blows on Donald Trump. It will all disappear as the American networks will turn to the former president showing up here in Georgia for his fourth criminal indictment.
And as we're saying, he said he's going to pull out of the Republican debates. He's not going to take part. What's his explanation for that?
Well, at this stage, he's well ahead of the Republican field. So the thinking would be that there's no need for him to be there, with more than 50% of Republican voters saying that they want him to be the presidential nominee. He's well ahead of every other Republican in the field. So why turn up for 2 hours when others are going to attack you, to slander you, to attack your record? There is no upside for Donald Trump in doing that. Now, his allies will be on the ground in Milwaukee. We know that Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from here in Georgia, is actually going to be there. This isn't her swapping sides. She's there to spin, to add Donald Trump's voice to the campaign and to the press room there and to the spin room, as they call it. But more than 50% of Republican voters also think Donald Trump should debate. So if this starts to hit his ratings, if his poll numbers start to go down, while he said he's not going to take part in the debates, plural, that might change if he starts to see his numbers become very weak. But for the moment, he's not going to be on the debate stage.
Voters in Ecuador have passed a referendum to prohibit oil drilling in a protected area of the Amazon rainforest, a move hailed as historic by environmental activists.
A referendum on the issue has been held alongside Sunday's presidential elections. 60% voted yes to stopping the drilling. It's a blow to the outgoing Ecuadorian president, Guillermo Lasso. He says oil drilling is crucial to the country's economy. Well, the drilling site is now going to have to be closed down. It's located in the Yasuni Nature Reserve in the Amazon. It's regarded as one of the most important biodiverse parts of the planet. Ecuador's government's estimated that stopping the drilling will mean a loss of $16 billion over 20 years. The operation accounts for 12% of Ecuador's crude oil production of 480,000 barrels a day. Our Latin America editor, Lucima Newman, is joining us now from Quito. Climate activists around the world are saying this is very important. What's been happening?
It's actually an extraordinary event. Just remember that less than 2 weeks ago, the heads of state of all of the countries that share the Amazon rainforest, that's 8 countries of South America, were unable to agree on not exploiting oil inside their rainforest. In fact, there was a lot of resistance to that. The president of Ecuador didn't even attend that summit in Belém, Brazil. So what happened in Ecuador is that the people themselves basically grabbed the bull by the horns and insisted upon protecting this very, very unique part of the rainforest, the Yasuni National Park. And not only that, they also held a referendum on preventing or prohibiting mining in the area that's just above where we are right now, in the Chocó region of the Andes Mountains. In both cases, the yes vote won the referendum. That was not expected initially. There was a lot of money used by the campaign for those who wanted it to continue, saying that it was necessary for the Ecuadorian economy. But at the end of the day, 60% of the people of Ecuador believed that preserving this rainforest, the biodiversity, and the people that live in the rainforest was more important.
It's time to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados at 6:30. Today we head back to conversations on CARICOM with His Excellency David Commichon. Also, our Bajan affair today is Shireen Goodridge-Smith. She's going to be in to talk about a documentary series that she has, and we'll double down on that as we introduce you to another Barbadian who was a member of the Royal Barbados Police Force, now the Barbados Police Service. She certainly will share with us more on that. And of course, we're going to preview what's coming up with later on in the week as well. That's all coming up on Morning Barbados at 6:30. But right now we have more news, sports and weather. So stay with us.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's
Barbados has recorded 8 more COVID-19 deaths. According to the latest dashboard, which gave an update on the period August 5th to 18th, there were 276 new cases during that time from 781 tests conducted. The latest fatalities bring the death toll from COVID-19 to 629. A move by Barbados to extend maternity and paternity leave is being described as a step in the right direction. President of the Human Resource Management Association of Barbados, Nicholas Roberts, says the island will now be aligning itself with global best practices. He was speaking on CBC News in response to comments from Minister of Labour, Colin Jordan.
I know in some areas of the world, it has even been said that 3 months is not even long enough for mothers, because in Barbados, mothers are given 12 weeks maternity leave, whereas there's no regulation on the books as it stands out today for fathers. So I know some organizations give their fathers maternity leave, and it is anything from factors. It's about 5 days at most. I have not really heard of any instances where fathers get more than 5 days. So when it comes to child rearing, both from a societal standpoint and an organizational standpoint, I think is a step in the right direction to lengthen that period, to give mothers and fathers a chance to bond with their children, as well as, like I said, from a societal standpoint, the rearing of our children within society.
Regarding concerns about abuse of the system, the HERMAP official says the respective human resource departments in Barbados are equipped to put measures in place to address that.
Sometimes we would like to call on the moral standard or the moral scruples of persons, but sometimes where that can fail, once again, having policies and procedures within the organization to govern and guide how those periods can be taken by persons would, mitigate some of those challenges where, to your point, where there will be people who will try to abuse those time periods given to both mothers and fathers.
Several travelers on Caribbean Airlines have been impacted recently by severe flight disruptions. This is due to what the airline says are sick calls from 75 pilots since August 19th, which caused it to cancel over 60 international and domestic flights. Airline officials based in Trinidad and Tobago say some of its flights are still being impacted, and its reservations service center is actively working to contact all affected customers. In a news release, the company says it applied for and has been granted an injunction by the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. Among other things, the Trinidad and Tobago Airline Pilots Association has been directed to instruct its membership to immediately report for duty as rostered as required in the normal course of their employment and Caribbean Airlines. In the Bahamas, the country's tourism sector continues to rebound. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper asserts the industry is on track to surpass previous records that saw an uptick in numbers.
In 2022, government saw just over 7 million guests in country after experiencing a downward trend in tourism activity due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Cooper says, though, that the expected increase will come in the months ahead and says this could be attributed to stronger branding of the country.
Tourism numbers are very, very strong. By September, on its current path, we're going to perhaps match the 2019 numbers. We anticipate that all things being equal, we are going to exceed last year and 2019 numbers. We're very excited by this. We expecting to attract 8 million visitors this year. This will be the best year ever in tourism. So I say a hearty thank you to the stakeholders and Team Tourism for the work that they're doing. But we have some really great plans in the pipeline, and we'll be rolling them out shortly.
In Jamaica, following last Tuesday's announcement of an historic decrease in employment rates, continuous reports of burgeoning economic expansion have ensued. However, the implications of this for the everyday Jamaican remain uncertain. At a time when back-to-school shopping was anticipated to be at its peak, vendors expressed that their reality appeared bleak. CVM Television reports.
Despite the recent positive indicators of economic gain, many Jamaicans say they are unable to afford a comfortable life. Vendors in the business district of downtown Kingston say they are merely scraping by as back-to-school sales have taken a nosedive.
It's not in a positive light because many parents come with the intention of buying 4. Enough of them have to buy 1 to 2 uniforms because they're saying the price is too much.
The uniform price gone up. One suit high khaki uniform now $4,000, $3,500, it depends on the size I pick them. And me who have so much pick me, you can't buy so much uniform for one child. You have to take time buy piece or buy top and then buy bottom. So it can't work out.
And with the annual back-to-school shopping fervor hit with the unrelenting surge in prices, several vendors share how sometimes for the entire week, not a single sale is made. The trend? Customers inquiring about the goods, then walking away after being advised of the prices and the unavailability of a discount.
The people them not have no money to spend. You understand? Them look when them ask them don't have the money to spend. Because you buy the things them expensive, and them don't have the money to up to them standard. The price them want a lower price. You can't afford to give them a lower price. You gotta lose.
Several vendors complain that they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to stock their stalls, often with the help of loan agencies boasting high interest rates. Noting the Prime Minister's recent declaration of economic improvement, they say their reality starkly contradicts that.
The government in no way must need to put himself in our shoes. Then him can talk about people making money. You understand? We out here and them inside is a far different thing of what we are talking about. Yeah, we depend on the ground and the government.
And the people them really not have the money to buy the original bag them. Them prefer the knockoff them. You understand? Because if me sell an original bag, Jansport me sell it like for $9,000 and them really don't have the money to buy.
Thus, the customary excitement that accompanies the dawn of a new school year has been tempered by the disconcerting realization that basic school supplies now bear a weighty burden. the vendors' collective stance, the economy is only plunging.
Guyana's government, in its efforts to provide specialized support for victims of violence, is moving forward with the construction of halfway houses called Hope and Justice Centers. They will be built in regions 1, 3, and 4. HGP TV has that story.
The government, in a collaboration between the Ministry of Legal Affairs and the Ministry of Human Affairs, is constructing an edifice that will be styled a Hope and Justice Center. It's a unique concept that we have designed, and it will be a home that will accommodate domestic violence victims, sexual abuse victims, trafficking in persons.
Describing the centers as halfway houses, he said the facilities will offer victims counseling, assistance with legal and medical issues, and temporary accommodation and police protection. He explained that the government is carrying out the construction of the centers as a pilot project in Region 4 on the east coast of Demerara, as well as in Regions 1 and 3. If this project is a success, it will be implemented in all administrative regions of the nation. The construction of the centers will be funded by an $8 million loan from the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. Domestic violence, intimate partner violence, sexual abuse, and human trafficking remain major problems despite several interventions at various levels.
Workshops in steel pan tuning, maintenance, performance, and rehearsal techniques will be offered to participants in Belize. This as the Musical Instruments of Trinidad and Tobago Company Limited embarks on an exciting journey to Belize to conduct a series of activities aimed at fostering a deeper appreciation for steel pan music. We hear more from TTT.
The Musical Instruments of Trinidad and Tobago Company Limited, or MITCO's week-long trip to Belize from August 21st to 26th will provide an invaluable opportunity for those interested in steel pan to learn from the best in the field and contribute to the global propagation of steel pan music. Pan tuner at MITCO, Junior Franklin, and professor at the Northern Illinois University, Liam Teague, will partner with local institutions in Belize to conduct workshops focused on steel pan tuning, maintenance, performance, and rehearsal techniques. Director of Sales and Business Development at MITCO, Akua Leith, said he was excited about the opportunity to continue the passion for steel pan music with the people of Belize. He added that the venture not only strengthens the bonds between the two nations, but also contributes towards the global recognition of steel pan music as an art form of unparalleled beauty and significance. Chief Executive Officer of Tourism Trinidad Limited, Carla Cupid, endorsed the initiative, adding that it showcases our vibrant steel pan music and promotes cross-cultural exchange and artistic collaboration. The activities will culminate in a concert on August 25th by a Belizean steel band conducted by Carlos Perot, Professor Teague, and Mr. Leith. During their visit, MITCO will also engage in meetings with potential sponsors interested in contributing to the Pan in School initiative, which aims to introduce steel pan music to educational institutions, fostering the growth of future generations of talented musicians. The visit coincides with Steel Pan Month and follows the United Nations Declaration of World Steel Pan Day on August 11th, the same day as MITCO's first anniversary.
In sports, Barbadian Sade Williams has booked her spot in tomorrow's final of the women's 400 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest. Last evening in semi-final 3, she was impressive in setting a new national record while qualifying in the third fastest time. Running in lane 7, Williams clocked 49.58 seconds, finishing behind Natalia Kamatrec of Poland in 49.50.
Sada Williams literally walked across the finish line. The woman from the Barbados is a fantastic athlete. World bronze last year and then Commonwealth gold about 15 days later. Set. They're away first time. Williams is closing that gap down on Ahuragu, who's now up onto the shoulder of the young woman from the Czech Republic. Kazmarek in the centre of your picture, steaming up past Miklos. And Irby Jackson's trying to hang on. No real move yet from the Jamaican, Cherokee Young, but it's a huge stagger to unfold. Williams of Barbados, Ahuragu, showing some strength there in second as Kazmarek comes round pretty much dead level with the Barbadian. Kazmarek's form will hold. Irby Jackson just beginning to struggle a little bit. Kazmarek takes it on the line from Williams, so she'll get a good lane draw. Those two safely through. Excellent qualification, good running, and both of them have realistic medal aspirations after the quality we've just seen there.
Definitely a proud moment. Meantime, American Sha'Carri Richardson ran a new championship record of 10.65 seconds to win the women's 100-meter final. Jamaica's Shericka Jackson was second in 10.72, and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price was third in a season's best of 10.77.
Third. They're away first time. Can Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price deliver? She's got a good start, but watch Shericka Jackson. Shericka Jackson, is she just going to do it? Oh, on the near side, right at the end. They were getting ready to write the script for Fraser-Price, but from nowhere in lane 9, it's an incredible performance from Sha'Carri Richardson. It looked as though Jackson was going to finish ahead of Fraser-Price, and she did, but the Jamaicans are stunned because Richardson came through like a rocket in lane 9.
The championships continue today with events like the men's 400 semi-final and final of the women's 1500. Live coverage is scheduled for MCTV's USA Channel 806 from 12:30. Let's take a look at the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1008.6 millibars. Air temperature 26.6 degrees. Relative humidity 86%. The wind direction south-southeast at 11 kilometers per hour, and it's presently fair outside. Sea conditions moderate in open water with northerly swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters and steady. Here's a look at how the tides roll in today, so be careful as you head on out for your morning sea bath. General forecast, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers as we move into the evening period. A mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. That's today's morning report. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 on our radio network of stations 100.7, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Hey, good morning and welcome to today's presentation of Morning Barbados. It's Tuesday, August 22nd. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. And what a show we have planned for you today. I'm sure you're going to have a great time with us, so make sure you stick around so that you can be a part of the presentation. We have some fantastic stories that will take you across the globe, but of course, all originating with Barbadians. We have great stories of our athletes as well. I know just like me, you were glued to the television yesterday to cheer Sade Williams on. I was more than happy to see how she did, and I'm sure just like me, you were thinking, Sade, shut that down. She has another gear in there, so we're waiting for that final to come up. And wasn't that an upset with the Jamaicans? I must tell you, I did not anticipate that end, but congratulations to Sha'Carri Richardson, very young, and she's definitely the future of the 100 meters final. So again today we are going to be talking about sport, like I told you. So we have some great young men who will be passing through, and they're hoping to bring home some titles to Barbados. The 2023 Carifta Triathlon and Aquathlon and Mixed Relay Championships will be coming up in Bahamas, August 26th to 27th. So we have the team captain, Phil Armstrong, who will be coming through to share with us, and Isis Gaskin. They're going to be here. We're going to talk all about how they plan to bring the team home. We have almost double the team size heading off this year to represent. So hopefully they'll be able to bring home the titles for us as they did last time. You know, they usually perform very, very well. So we're hoping to see that performance continue, even as we have a bigger team, I believe, in the 20s this time around. Last time around, I believe it was 13 or so, who will be heading off to Bahamas to represent Barbados. Also, we are going to be reaching out to a few Bajans who are doing wonderful things, or who are going to share stories about us. Shireen Goodrich-Smith is a Liberian filmmaker, and she just released a documentary series. Is Children of Lemongrass Street, Barbadians in Liberia, and we're going to talk about that. Very, very interesting. I'm sure by now you know the story of a few hundred Liberians who left for Barbados many, many years ago and went over to Liberia and formed a mini Barbados, so to speak. And now we have Liberians who are coming back to Barbados and are in search of their roots. So it definitely will be interesting to delve into that story. We've told you much about it before. And we're also going to be speaking with Gloria Welch, a lady who is an avid viewer of Morning Barbados, but she has a fantastic story to share. It's a real feel-good story, you know, one of those stories. So we're looking forward to sharing with her. But as we do often on Tuesdays, we're going to get started by talking to Ambassador Commichon, and we are having conversations on CARICOM, as always. So let's say a special good morning to Ambassador Commichon. Good morning and welcome. Always good to have you on Morning Barbados. There you are.
Good morning. Good morning, Tisha.
All right. Good to have you here. That took a minute.
Yes, I was wondering what was happening.
All right, so today we're going to kind of take a look back at all that's been happening. We're going to look at the CARICOM celebration that happened in Trinidad and some of the things that came out of that historic presentation and meetings and everything that went along with it, and look at moving forward as well.
Yeah, I want us to look back at that 45th CARICOM Heads of Government Conference in Trinidad. It was our 50th anniversary conference. But I want us to look at it, I want us to look at some of the decisions made at that conference and the agenda items that we covered, because I think those agenda items will give a good sense of what is CARICOM's fundamental agenda at this time. And I think it's important that we keep in mind what the fundamental agenda is. So number one, as always, the CSM, constructing the CSM. Number two, CARICOM's agriculture and food security program. Number three, climate change, climate finance, and reform of the international financial system. And all of that, the vehicle for that is really the Bridgetown Initiative. Number four, regional air and sea transportation. And I heard your news story about the horrors with Caribbean Airlines. Haiti, the crisis in Haiti. Crime, how do we solve the epidemic of crime across the Caribbean community? Number seven, relations with Africa. Number eight, reparations. Number 9, relations with our associate member states. These are Anguilla, Turks and Caicos, British Virgin Islands, Bermuda, Cayman Islands. Non-independent territories, but brought into CARICOM as associate members, and also our relations with other non-independent territories that wish to become associate members of CARICOM, such as Martinique and Curacao. And finally, our ongoing campaign to persuade the United States to remove sanctions against Cuba and Venezuela. In the case of Venezuela, we need to get that Petrocaribe Energy Cooperation Agreement up and going again. Sanctions are standing in our way. In the case of Cuba, well, that's a long-standing commitment to Cuba that goes back to 1972. So I would say, Tisha, that in the weeks and months ahead, we are going to be coming back again and again to that fundamental agenda. Of course, there are many other things that CARICOM deals with. CARICOM deals with virtually every aspect of our national life, but I think those 10 items are going to be recurrent features. So I leave it up to you, Tisha. We could look at any one of them or any ones of them that you wish, and
sure.
we can look at who's made.
Well, I definitely, there's one that definitely strikes me immediately. That's the Caribbean single market and single economy. And I know that has been one that has felt as though it's elusive. Much work has to be done, but these days we're moving into more of a digital sphere. Based on discussions, do you think that this could help to make a move toward a single Caribbean market and a single Caribbean economy more of a reality, as in the past where we had to think about a physical dollar in terms of trading in the same currency across the region?
Yes, that's a very good observation. Digitalization is one of the lessons we learned as a result of the COVID pandemic. That we don't have to do everything physically. We could rely more on that communications technology. In fact, the modus operandi in CARICOM now, post-COVID, is that some meetings are physical, but many meetings are now virtual meetings, and that's a very good insight. This can be a key, really, to helping, bring us together as one single domestic space, and that's the whole idea of the CSME, to bring all of these different countries together and have them function as one single domestic space. Now, the two critical decisions made about the CSME at this meeting in Trinidad were number one. The big one was that we decided that by the 31st of March next year, we are going to deliver to our community full freedom of movement of our people. Right now, we have freedom of movement, but it is restricted to categories of skilled workers or people who are moving to set up businesses or set themselves up in self-employment. So we said we are going beyond that now. We are going towards full freedom of movement, but we have the next 7-8 months to work out what amendments we're going to have to make to the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, what contingent rights come with the freedom of movement, rights to education, healthcare, etc., etc. How do we work that out in a manageable way, and exactly how do we put in place some kind of regime for the full freedom of movement? So people are free to move, but of course, if you move, you're going to have to be registered in the territory that you moved into in some way. So all of those details to be worked out. The second thing that we agreed upon in relation to the constructing the CSME is that the regional capital market, and and this is what you were driving at, because that's a big part of it, that we must have a seamless space for moving capital across the region, for businesses that operate in the sphere of capital, banking, insurance, all of the things to do with money and capital, that regime must be in place by July of next year. So we have given ourselves 1 year to complete it, and the CARICOM Secretariat is mandated to put together a roster of all the meetings of all the CARICOM organs, the Council for Finance and Planning, the Legal Affairs Committee, the Council for Trade and Economic Development, put together a roster of all of those necessary meetings must take place over the next 6 months to deliver that by next year. So those were the two fundamental decisions made in terms of constructing the CSN.
I certainly hope that Caribbean leaders have also factored in discussions, broad discussions, and very specific discussions with their countrymen, with the people of the Caribbean as well, because I know for many of these things, talking about them from a national level is one thing, but as you mentioned, as we get into the potential social impacts of the free movement of people across the Caribbean and things of that nature, I know that various people will want to weigh in and share, and it could also be a major positive for the leaders of the region in terms of how we ourselves can contribute through suggestions and things of that nature that can make movement a whole lot easier. After all, Barbadians have been moving across the region for work and to live for many, many years, and people from other parts of the region have been here. So, I mean, it has been happening, but as you mentioned, to be able to truly formalize it and make it free movement for everyone, I think there needs to be broad and narrow conversations as well with Caribbean people about what they want, what they expect, and most importantly, what's being done so that we're kept in the know. I know that we share, and you share consistently here on Morning Barbados, but I feel like that needs to be across the board and across the region in order for it to truly work the way that you would want it to.
Yeah, I think it would be good if we could get back to some of the things we were doing pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, CARICOM had started a real communications outreach program to the community. In fact, we were having town hall meetings featuring the Secretary General and CARICOM heads of government. There was a very outstanding one right here in Barbados with Prime Minister Motley and CARICOM SG, and there was an understanding that this was going to be happening on a regular basis right across the region. Of course, then COVID hit, and all of that travel stopped, and we have not gotten back to it. But we need to, and yes, this idea, this decision about full freedom of movement is of interest to all CARICOM citizens. So this is the ideal topic to get people talking about and sharing ideas about. And yes, there's some important details we're going to have to work through. A person comes in, what exactly are the rights that they will be entitled to in the new country, and how do we put something in place that is actually sustainable. But Tisha, I think there's been a kind of shift in thinking about this freedom of movement, because in the past, people have had a lot of concerns about people coming into their country. But I think it's beginning to dawn on many people now that the bigger danger might actually be people leaving your country. Because, if you come back to Barbados and this issue of the pension, the national insurance, well, one of the things driving the need to increase the pensionable age is the simple fact that Barbados has an aging population. Our people are living longer, more people are becoming pensioners, people are having less children, so we are having a lesser proportion of the population who are young people in the economically active age range, working and contributing taxes and national insurance payments and so forth. And if you're going to attract to your country young, economically active people who are going to come and contribute to building the economy and paying the taxes and contributing to national insurance, that is likely to be a benefit to your country, but it could very well be a detriment to the country that is losing those young, economically active people. So there's lots for us to think about. But the freedom of movement, we believe, well, first of all, that it really should be a right of the Caribbean people. You know, you're born on a little island because your ancestors were brought there, and then somebody says to you, "You're not to move off of this little space. This is your universe. This is where you must stay." No, we think that just like, you know, a citizen of the United States, you're born in Florida or Washington or wherever, but you have that whole subcontinent to roam to find life opportunities, career opportunities. We need to give our people in the Caribbean that same benefit.
All right,
So,
I absolutely agree. We're going to take a break while I jostle in my brain where we're going to go next, because there's so many places we can go with these topics. I mean, you know, the setting up of the bank here in Barbados recently, the release of the docu-series from the Liberians, and then, of course, talking a little bit about, you know, how the relationship is going with the African Union and Caribbean leaders, and most certainly here in Barbados. But I think top of the table for me is our climate change and climate finance agenda coming out of the TED Talk last week by Professor Avinash Prasad, and all he shared there and how that ties into the Bridgetown Initiative. I want to talk about that next. So let's take a break and come back to Conversations on CARICOM. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade, or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
98.1's a one. It's more than a station.
We don't just play music. We keep you company, cheer you up, keep you informed and entertained. We're a vibe.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
8 minutes now before 7 o'clock. So today we're taking a look back at the last CARICOM Heads of Government Summit, even as we celebrate CARICOM's 50th. It was held the 3rd to the 5th of July in Trinidad, and there were a number of major decisions taken by our leaders pertaining to the construction of the Caribbean single market and economy. We touched on that a bit, the movement of Caribbean people across the region. And I absolutely love how the ambassador put it, that, you know, you're born in one place and you're told you have to stay here and can't move. You know, that's an interesting way to think about it. So let's welcome back the Ambassador Comishong, to the discussion, even as we move toward looking at our climate change and climate finance initiative and how the Bridgetown agenda The Bridgetown initiative is tying into all we're hoping to accomplish in terms of financing generally, and then looking at climate financing specifically as small island developing states.
Yeah, Tisha. Well, one of the main decisions made at the meeting was to decide to establish a prime ministerial subcommittee on climate change, climate finance. Now, this says a lot, because when CARICOM has decided that something is critical priority, like the CSME, for example, on our reparations, one of the first things you do is establish a prime ministerial subcommittee to oversee that particular agenda item. So that's typically a committee of about 6 prime ministers, and one country is given leadership of that area. So the decision was made to set up this prime ministerial subcommittee on climate change and climate finance. It is going to be chaired by St. Lucia, and of course, Barbados is a member of the committee, along with Jamaica, Antigua, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the big thing for us this year is the COP28 in the United Arab Emirates, the 30th of November into December. So this prime ministerial subcommittee on climate has been instructed to have their first meeting in September to be part of the preparations for CARICOM to participate in COP. And as I said, CARICOM's main vehicle in this arena is the Bridgetown Initiative. And we are making steady progress on this. You would recall the summit co-sponsored by Prime Minister Motley and President Macron of France a few weeks ago. I think the progress that we are making is, first of all, there's been a widespread acceptance of Barbados's idea of these natural disaster and pandemic clauses in our basically our borrowing instruments. So, Barbados has been pushing this idea that all these government bonds should have these clauses in it, so that if you're hit by a pandemic, a natural disaster, and you really need to devote all your resources just to rebuilding your country, you will have suspension of payments on your international debt for 2 years to give you that breathing space. And this basically is being agreed all around the world, so that is very promising. Of course, the other bigger things, the increase in financing for developing countries, the reform of the international financial institutions to give more clout and more to developing countries and more support for developing countries. We will see how successful we are on that at this COP28 conference in early December. But yes, also we decided that we are going to explore the establishment of a regional market for carbon trading, and we are going to look at even the possibility of carbon taxes. In other words, it's a signal that we are getting a lot more serious about the global warming. We are looking at things that perhaps need to be discouraged through taxation, and we're also looking at how we can benefit financially from some of the advantages we have, because we contribute very, very little to the greenhouse gases. And we have countries like Guyana, Suriname, Belize, with large rainforests that actually are sinks for the greenhouse gases that actually help the world's climate. And so how can we kind of monetize some of that through a regional carbon trading market? So these would be the critical decisions that were made in July about this particular topic.
There's so much happening with these things that we definitely need to stay on top of them, but I can see that things are truly happening as we move on. And in closing, in our last 2 minutes in today's conversation on CARICOM, I think it's important that we touch on the relationships that we are building, the ones that we're making even stronger. And in sticking with the way you put it, one of the even bigger topics, relationship with our African brothers and sisters, particularly Rwanda and Ghana and other places that we have been reaching out to, and how things are forming up here in Barbados and across the region.
Yeah, this is a big part of CARICOM's agenda, the developing relationship with Africa. In fact, at that 50th anniversary conference, one of our special guests was the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. And at that conference, we were looking at how CARICOM is going to engage more with Rwanda to do economic activities. But it was noted at that conference that Barbados and Guyana have already started the collaboration with Rwanda in terms of a pharmaceutical industry producing vaccines. Also, Rwanda came to that conference, and the president put out there that Rwanda is prepared to help us with the situation in Haiti. Rwanda is prepared to offer security personnel to go into Haiti to help with the security situation, provided the Haitian people themselves want that assistance. So reparations as well, reparations more and more. The phase that we're embarked upon now in reparations takes in Africa. It's about reaching out to Africa, building that relationship. Of course, we have the African Export-Import Bank that has been established right here in Barbados. So we have our Barbadian embassies on the African continent in Ghana and Kenya. So a big priority for CARICOM is relations with Africa in every cultural, economic, diplomatic, reparations, you name it. And I love your topic today about Liberia, because Liberia has to be very special to Barbados. So many of our people migrated there and made such a contribution to that country. And I can tell you, in addition to this film that you'll be speaking about, there's going to be a major, next year May, there's going to be a major visit of hundreds of Liberians to Barbados next year, and we are already working on that project.
Well, we have Shireen Goodrich-Smith, who will be on shortly as well to talk about the docuseries. That's something that we definitely look forward to as well. I want to thank you as always. Very, very enlightening to speak with you about what's happening and how our leaders are, putting their words to work. It's very, very important. Thank you. Have a good day, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tisha. Same to you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back with a news update. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. It's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why? defends his title. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
An environmentalist who is doing her PhD at the University of the West Indies Cafel campus recognizes the important tradition of crabbing in Barbados, but she's also concerned about the lack of research data about the population size of the crabs that are caught every single year. Speaking during an interview with CBC News on location at the recent annual crabbing night in St. Andrew, she said a census of the crabs would be a good place to start.
I think we need to be conscious about taking crabs every single year. We need to understand the biology, reproductive biology of these crabs. The species that they're taking is Cardisoma gunabi, mainly, which is known as the blue land crabs. And to a lesser extent, they take G. carcinus ruricola, which is a black land crab. But I've been coming to these crab events, this is like 3 years now. I think the first one that I came to was in 2019, and based on that event, the perception that I got from the locals is that they don't really fish or they don't really crab the black land crab, because they don't really take the black land crabs because they think that it's known as the duppy crab locally, so they don't really eat that crab, so they focus mainly on the blue land crab, Cardisoma gunabi. And this is a yearly event that, you know, every year they come, we have these crab night events, which is amazing. I mean, it's good for the parish of St. Andrew, but we also need to be conscious of taking from the population every year. We have no information about population size. We have no information, we don't know how, well, based on the literature or based on science, we know that it takes about 3 to 4 years for these crabs to reach sexual maturity. And by reaching sexual maturity doesn't mean that they reach this really large size that you can harvest them. It just means that they're able to reproduce after 3 to 4 years.
She says being able to track the gender and size of the crabs being taken is therefore very important.
If you want to have these events to continue, I mean, it's a cultural aspect, yes, you need to also be conscious of the population that you're taking from. So you need to be aware of population size. Right now we have no data on population size. You need to be conscious of, you know, reproductive season. Based on, I can tell you from the literature and based on my research, I can tell you the reproductive season, but we know nothing about the crabs in Barbados. We have no idea of when they reproduce. These are all things we need to consider. And we also need to consider, you know, not taking females that are able to reproduce. And then this has been going on for a very long time. I've started my research project in September 2018. So this was going on before, because I spoke to the organizer of this event and he told me that this has been going on for 20 years. So we have been taking crabs every year for 20 years. And it's not only the crab night event, it is people fishing every day, people crabbing every day for a living. You know, you have the local community around St. Andrew that will go down and take the crabs every single day. That's a daily thing. So we have all these pressures on this population and we're not allowing the population to recover. So eventually what you would have, and I think what we're seeing now, is that it's scarce to find the crabs. You can't find the crabs, 1, 2. And when you do find the crabs, they're very small. So that means, you know, we're not heading in a good direction.
Ms. Paris-Ram says to avoid a worsening situation, there are some immediate steps that need to be taken.
For sustainability, I think first thing we need to do is a population census. We should have an idea of how many specimens, how many crabs we have at Long Pond, St. Andrew, you know. Do a census. Give us an idea of how, you know, a large population size is. And we also need to know how many females, how many males, how many juveniles we have. And once we have that information, then we could plan strategies on how to, you know, protect these species so that we could continue to harvest we could harvest
while
these,
maintaining the cultural aspect to it.
while maintaining yes, we could continue to harvest and allow the population to thrive so that we could continue this whole cultural process, right? Because this is important. I mean, I grew up in Barbados. I grew up in Long Pond, and I remember the size of the crabs that we would see back then. It's nothing compared to the very tiny little ones that they're collecting now. And it's very disheartening to see. We want to pass this on to our kids. So in order to do that, you have to, really be conscious on how you're taking crabs every single year. And in order to do that, you need to have data. And it may surprise you, that when we get the data, if we start that census, we do a population census and you get the data, you may actually find out that the population is actually smaller than you think it is. So you can't really sustainably take every single year. So, this is important because you want to continue this tradition of crabbing every single year. But in order to do that, we really need to know, what our population is like, if it's sustainable to take every single year, and what measures we could put in place to conserve species.
And here's a story that's been blowing up on social media. Several travelers on Caribbean Airlines have been impacted recently by severe flight disruptions. This is due to what the airline says are sick calls from 75 pilots since August 19th, which caused it to cancel over 60 international and domestic flights. Airline officials based in Trinidad and Tobago say some of its flights are still being impacted, and its reservation center is actively working to contact all affected customers. In a news release, the company says it applied for and has been granted an injunction by the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago, among other things. The Trinidad and Tobago Airline Pilots Association has been directed to instruct its membership to immediately report for duty as rostered as required in the normal course of their employment and Caribbean Airlines. And of course, we'd like to take a look now at sports. We know you were seated in front of your television sets yesterday afternoon as we took in the races that were happening, and our very own Sade Williams has booked her spot in tomorrow's final of the women's 400 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest. Last evening in semi-final 3, she was impressive in setting a new national record while qualifying in the third fastest time. Running in lane 7, Williams clocked 49.58 seconds, finishing behind Natalia of Poland in 49.50.
Sade Williams literally walked across the finish line. The woman from the Barbados is a fantastic athlete. World bronze last year and then Commonwealth gold about 15 days later. Set. They're away first time. Williams is closing that gap down on Uhuragu, who's now up onto the shoulder of the young woman from the Czech Republic. Kazmarek in the centre of your picture, steaming up past Miklos. And Irby Jackson's trying to hang on. No real move yet from the Jamaican Cherokee Young, but it's a huge stagger to unfold. Williams of Barbados, Uhuragu, showing some strength there in second as Kazmarek comes round pretty much dead level with the Barbadian. Kazmarek's form will hold. Irby Jackson just beginning to struggle a little bit. Kazmarek takes it on the line from Williams, so she'll get a good lane draw. Those two safely through. Excellent qualification, good running, and both of them have realistic medal aspirations after the quality we've just seen there.
The championships continue today with events like the men's 400 meters semi-final and final of the women's 1500, and of course live coverage is scheduled for MCTV's USA channel 806 from 12:30 this afternoon. You still have time to call MCTV and get that box back, or book your MCTV if you're no longer with us. How about that? We're going to take a break and come on back. Remember, 12 noon we have an update of your news for Newsday, and that's followed by The World at 1 on our radio network of stations. Stay tuned. More of Morning Barbados is coming up.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's summer vacation, and CBC TV8 says laugh a little. Your mid-mornings have now included some family-friendly, side-splitting series like The Partridge Family, Benson, and Designing Women. TV not to be missed this vacation. Weekdays from 10 a.m. on CBC TV8. CBC is celebrating 60 years of broadcasting in Barbados. A friend and a helping hand in the community. CBC, connecting Barbadian communities. It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Dave.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we've been talking about this all morning. Welcome back, and we certainly will delve right in as we welcome Shireen Goodridge-Smith, who is a Barbadian Liberian filmmaker. Always good to hear from you. I know you were on already, so welcome back, I should say. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I know you must be very happy at where the docuseries has now reached. As a producer myself, I know that want to get involved in these productions, they can go on for years, really.
Yes, yes. It started in 2017, and of course, you know, we had COVID, so we had to pivot and do Zoom for some of our interviews. But it's finally, the wait is over. And we released the docuseries on July 26th. And I'm just so excited to let the folks in Barbados know about this docuseries, because it was done not only for the Liberians, but also for our distant Bajan cousins. So I'm here to tell you all about it.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, it's just released. It's Children of Lemongrass Street, Barbadians in Liberia. And it's an historic documentary series featuring, for the first time, the collective living history of the Barbadians whose ancestors had been enslaved in Barbados and who had moved on to Liberia. Talk to me about what it took for you to be able to pull this series together across all these years, since 2017, really.
Well, it wasn't difficult. Once you started talking to one person, the word spread around. And the unique thing about the Barbadians who went to Liberia is that we remain a very close-knit group over the generations. So I'm fourth generation Barbadian of Barbadian descent. So we knew how to get in touch with all the families. There were 346 individuals who were on the Break Cora that left from Barbados and went to Liberia in 1865. So we went through that list and tried to catch up with descendants of all those families. And what we did, we grouped our episodes into generations. We got to the older people first, those in the 80s and 90s, because we wanted to get their stories before it was too late, when they had their memories intact, and they were so excited. They shared history that I didn't know. And people would be so pleased to learn from these older family members. Then we looked at the generation, we call them the silver generation, those who are in their 70s. And then we have another section that we call the bronze generation. These are descendants in their 50s and their 60s. We didn't want to leave the younger generation out, because we wanted to hear what are they doing. The important thing is for us was, it's not just talking about the people who came and the first generation who were very successful, but we wanted to talk about, what are we doing now? Who are we? Where are we? And so the Pearl generation is a generation in their 30s and 40s. And we didn't want to forget the younger kids because we want them to know about ancestry. We want them to be engaged, know about Barbados, know about Liberia. So we call them the Diamond Generation. And their task was to list the names, speak the names of the people who came on the Cora in 1865. So that's how we got started.
It definitely is an opportunity for us to share with our younger generations here in Barbados as well about the deep connections that we share with many African nations. Specifically today, we're talking about Liberia. And I'm happy to hear that you didn't have to necessarily trump up any support for the initiative, and people were so open to discussing it and sharing. I know there have been a lot of Liberian descendants who've been descending on Barbados over the last few years as well, trying to find out a little bit more about their roots. And I'm sure a lot of that will be shared in the docuseries as well, as those who ventured back to Barbados share how hearing about the deep connections, the names that might be the same, the customs that might be the same, how truly strong they are across cultural lines that really are fully wiped out when we think of geography, because the cultural influence has been so strong as they moved from here to Liberia that you're still hearing and seeing so much, even as much as taking the breadfruit there and other things like that.
Well, let me tell you what's interesting. Your name, what's your last name?
Hines.
I knew that. I looked it up. And guess what? There were Hines on the Great Cora who went to Liberia. Yes, there was William Hines and his wife and 3 kids. The youngest kid was 9 months old. So you have Hines, who maybe your distant cousins who are in Liberia. But I listened to the previous guest who was on, and I'm happy to know that the Barbadians are interested in working with the people from Africa, because even those of us who are from Barbados, originally our ancestors were from Barbados, but we're all over the world. And one of the things that we captured in this docuseries was we wanted to talk to the professionals who are there giving advice. We have scientists, we have engineers, we have physicians, we have judges, we have the first Black woman to be head of the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C., the IMF. She's a Liberian of Barbadian ancestry. She's actually, I'm exposed. She's the general counsel for the IMF. And her name is Rhoda Weeks. So she's a descendant from the Weeks family, and she's 4th generation born in Liberia. So these are the professionals that you'll be hearing about. They're talking about building wealth. They're talking about women's health, education. Every professional sector you can think about, they are represented in this documentary. We have judges, we have lawyers, we have teachers, and we are all on every continent. We found our descendants on every continent, and they are on this docu-series. From the only continent we didn't have somebody from was South America. And what I would like to say is that I was in Barbados in June for the Weeks family reunion, but we want to know, for the Barbadians to know that the Liberians, we are willing to work with you. We want to bring out our expertise. We want for us to collaborate. So it was interesting to listening to the previous guests on the show, because that's why we did this documentary. So we know there's so much talent out there, and we want to volunteer and reach out and connect. The trip that's coming up next year, that would be a great trip for everybody to get involved in. We're excited about that. And so that's what the documentary is, not only talking about our history. We have several episodes. One episode, we talk about our culture. You talk about the breadfruit. So we talk about our meals. We did a whole episode on Sunday lunch, how we do that in Liberia, how we brought some of the traditions from Barbados and it's represented in our food. So it's an exciting docu-series. We have our website. It's called Our History TV. So you can log on your computer, go to ourhistorytv.com, and you'll be able to see every episode of the docu-series. In addition, it's streaming on YouTube. So if you went onto YouTube and you in the search bar, you typed in Our History TV and you click on the white OHT icon logo, and you'll see all the episodes. We have a playlist with all the episodes grouped together on YouTube. So every Barbadian, please log in and watch the docu-series.
Absolutely. We certainly look forward to sharing it here on TV8 in the very near future as well, so that Barbadians, here and across the diaspora will hear all about this docuseries. It really underpins how important it is for us to have those inter and intra-generational conversations. I'm happy to hear that you guys talked everything from, as we would say in Bajan parlance, wine to iodine. That's good stuff.
I like that. That.
I look forward to watching the docuseries, and once I see it, I'm sure that we will have to come back and kind of delve into the episodes and, share our experiences as people who have a shared cultural past, present, and future.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having us on, and we're looking forward to come back next year to Barbados.
Yeah, how did the reunion turn out? You were here for the week's reunion earlier this year, just a few months ago, really. So how did things turn out? I know quite a few of you were here as well.
Yes, it was awesome. I was on your show too. It was awesome. We had such a great time. It was my third trip to Barbados, and it didn't disappoint. And everybody, in fact, one of the younger people, one of the young men from the younger generation, on the second day, he said, "If this was all you had to offer me, I would be pleased. I'm just happy." He said, "This is so awesome." So everybody had a great time. But what came out of that reunion was that one of the family members donated. His family donated land in our ancestral home in Crozadale, and we are now raising money to build a house that we're going to call the Break Coral House, where we're going to turn it into a museum, and we're also going to have a community center. So a lot of great things are coming out of this whole return to Barbados and return to Liberia. We want the Barbadians to come to Liberia. Look, there's nobody you want to look for. This is another thing that's important. If you tracing your family and you can't find them, and you look on that ship manifest from 1865, get in touch with me, because we're a close-knit group, and we'll be able to connect you with any one of those families, because you have the Worrells, the Ports, the Barclays, the Bradwitts, all of these names of the 346 people. We can help you find your distant cousins if you're interested.
Listen, I can think of a few people that I'm going to drag down to go look at that ship manifest from 1865, namely one called Owls. She's in the back saying, "I wonder if any of my ancestors were on that ship." And I know there are a lot of people who are watching who are thinking along the same lines as well. So this is the start of some wonderful things. And I want to thank you, as always, for, making that connection, staying true to the connection. And I certainly hope the docuseries is viewed millions and millions of times, and we're able to get together and say, next time we talk, we're organizing that trek from Barbados to Liberia. I think that's the next natural step that we have to make as well.
Excellent. And we'll be here to help you with every step of the way. Don't worry about anything. We're here to help you make your trip pleasant. I'm trying to speak Barbadian.
You're getting there. A few more trips and it should be a better accent.
Yeah. And even for the young, for schools, because this is something that's it's general, is G-rated. So you can take some of the episodes for the kids to learn these things. I mean, you learn important things that you didn't know before, because I thought everybody who went on the brick courier to Liberia came directly from Barbados. But one of the elder people who we had on the show, he's 90 something, Mr. Morgan. He talked about his great grandfather was on a ship that the Portuguese took them as slaves from Mali in Africa and were taking them to St. Vincent as slaves. They had tricked them. And then the British warship freed them, and he ended up in St. Vincent. Long story short, he ended up in Liberia, and that's how he got to Liberia because they didn't become slaves. They were freed by the British on the high seas, taken to St. Vincent, and later on ended up in Liberia. So you hear all these fascinating stories, but most importantly, you learn about who we are now, what are we doing, how can we help each other. That's very important because the people who are on there are willing to help in any way and make these connections. We want to collaborate and reach out to anybody who's interested. So the Barbadian government, I know there's some of us who are working, Lorenzo Weatherspoon working with the government. So this is the time we have to ride this wave and make it happen.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much, Shireen Goodrich-Smith, for sharing with us. We have lots and lots to think about and lots to do. A lot of the times we think of slavery as something so far in the distant past that we don't realize where it truly touches us and how close it truly is. I mean, when you tell stories like that one, it hammers home how important it is for us to have these conversations. And of course, this docu-series is a great place to start if you don't know where to start. OurHistoryTV.com is the website. That's where I want you to go. And who knows, I might organize a watch party and let a few of our friends here on Mornin Barbados watch together. And then we can share. I think that will be very interesting to see how people react to the series and then, of course, share that. So again, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to you coming back and sharing more with us about how things are shaping up for the Liberians coming en masse to Barbados next year.
Yes, we're excited. Thank you so much for having us, and we're here anytime.
All right, good stuff. Definitely things that you need to research. And talking of Barbadians traveling, moving across the globe, making their mark, our next guest is going to share a feel-good story with us that dates back to 1973. I feel like the Golden Girls coming on. Picture it. London, 1973. We're going to tell you more after this.
We shall not be moved. Oh, we shall not be moved.
Today, we, the children of Lemongrass Street, tell the oral history of our ancestors with heartwarming details of our lives. To our distant Bajan cousins in the country of Barbados that our ancestors waved farewell to over 157 years ago, the good news is their descendants are survivors. We greet you with joy and happiness. Our ancestors can be proud of the collective accomplishments of their children. We may live thousands of miles around the world and away from Liberia, but wherever we go, we always tell people that we are from Coastville. We're from up the river, and what this tiny little place means to us. We, the children of Lemongrass Street, know our parents' story, and our parents knew their parents' story, and their parents knew the stories of their forefathers. We must not sit on the sidelines and allow others to create the narrative of our ancestors. It's
This is why we want to honor all of the families that traveled from Barbados to Liberia on the Cora, because all of them did not settle in Crozerville. May not all have been blood relatives, but in this journey across the Atlantic Ocean, they were one family seeking a new life.
We are the descendants telling our stories, plain and simple.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Damian Best. Your all-access pass to the action happening in the BFA Premier League and beyond. Every last Monday of the month on CBC TV8. Kickoff time, 8:30 p.m. with analysis from our panel and highlights of the top performances. You can weigh in on the discussion via WhatsApp on 228-5562. It's Match Day Live from the 246. Don't you miss it.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we are...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Just about 24 minutes to go before 8 o'clock. The time is quickly moving by. So we have to say thanks for tuning in. If you have to get out for work, make a move. So this beautiful lady who's coming up called me just a little while ago, and she started telling me a story, and I thought it was so intriguing. I said, you have to absolutely share this story with the Mornin Barbados family. So help me welcome Gloria Welch, who is here with us and ready to share this very interesting story that takes us back to 1973.
Yes.
Where you were living in London, yes, and the then Barbados Police Force Band came to London. So you take it away from there.
The band came to take part in something called the Earl's Court Tournament. It was a collection of military bands from all over the world, and they performed before members of the royal family at times. So I attended when the Barbados band was performing. And after the performance, I went back to the barracks to meet with the friends that I had in the band. And there were some youngsters who were new recruits. And they were very quiet when everybody was talking about going to their friends and family and so on. I said, well, you all are not sharing anything. You're not talking about it. I said, well, we can't go because of many reasons. They were unable to visit other places and so forth. So a brainstorm hit me. Well, these youngsters are out here. They need to see something or get something happen. And I thought, I'll go and throw a party for the band. And I went to the then High Commissioner to London, the late Sir Cameron Tudor.
Wow.
And I said, Uncle Cam, as he was familiarly known to us, and I said, I need a date from you for the band. He said, what are you planning now? I said, I want to give a party for the band, you know, entertain the entire band. So we sat down and we talked about it. And he said to me, okay, you'll have a date, but they won't be able to perform, to attend in uniform because it's not an official item on the itinerary. I said, that's not a problem. They're coming out to have a good time, so they don't need uniforms.
And what was most intriguing for me about you telling this story is the musical hall, now located at District A Police Station, is named for the gentleman who at that time was the musical director of the band.
Yes.
Prince Cave.
Prince Cave, yes.
Very interesting stuff.
Yes.
So you were able to kind of rally a lot of Barbadians together and make things happen for the guys. Tell us how that worked out.
Yes, I did. First, I attacked the staff at the embassy, the entire staff, you know, Board of Tourism, IDC, all that. And I said, I need some liquor. I have to make rum punch. And they said, no problem, G, you'll have it. So they supplied the alcohol. I said, don't worry, my girlfriends and I are going to supply the food stuff, and they will help me prepare. So I proceeded to put things in place. I hired a place called the Hempstead Town Hall, which was a nice hall for receptions. Then I spoke to Mr. Keith Austin, who was the official transportation for the group, and to and from there, you know, different times that they had to appear different places. And I said, I need to know how much it's going to cost to take the band to and from the Hempstead Town Hall on such a date. He said, 2 words. And I said, thank you. He said, that's what I'm talking about.
Truly sounds Bajan to me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely love it. And as if by fate, you moved to the US, and then precisely 20 years later, 30 years later, something almost similar happened.
Yes, they came and they performed at a church called St. Mark's Church in Brooklyn. And I was asked to assist with the catering for their entertainment after their performance in the church. So the morning, just before the lady was ready to leave to join the others who were going to flank the band on both sides from the church to the church hall, she said, I want you to take care of the table and make sure that everything is right till I get back. And I said, so where are you going? She says, I have to escort the band. I said, what band are you talking about? She said, the Barbados Police Band. And that hit me really hard. I said, and you didn't let me prepare something special? She said, you've done enough. Then I proceeded. And when the boys walked in, who had been in London, some of them, and saw me, they said, oh, I know we're going to have some good food today, so I'm going to eat up a storm.
Well, it must have been wonderful to be able to connect with them 30 years later, after having met up with them in London, and then to see them in New York.
Yes.
I mean, still carrying the Barbados banner.
Yes. The funny thing is that one of the bandsmen said to me, it's been 30 years. I said, 30 years what? You said, you think we could ever forget that party? It's the best party we have had since we were traveling. Never had one like it before, and we haven't had one like it since.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because now we're in 2023. This is precisely 50 years on.
Yes.
I mean, you know, memories like that are memories that truly last a lifetime. So I think the onus now is on us to make a new memory all these years later and involve a few. You must have made some lasting friendships as well coming out of those meetings and parties.
Yes. Unfortunately, most of the members from the band have passed on now because they were the older ones. But I did make some friends with a younger group. I'm still in contact with a few of them. And it so happened that one of my church sisters, who is now also a member of the Royal Band, the band here, no longer Royal.
Barbados Police Service Band.
And I was talking about the party, and she remembered when they came to New York in 2003, and she remembered how the band, embraced me when they walked in, all the members when they walked in, and they talked about it, and they were so happy. And everybody was going to know, who's that lady? Who's this lady? We don't know her. And they said, well, she gave a fantastic party for us when we visited London in 1973.
Ms. Welch, as a Barbadian living overseas, how important was it for you to be able to connect with the piece of back home, even through, doing something, such a wonderful initiative like this for the Barbados then Police Force Band, and to be able to generally connect with Barbadians? How important was it for you?
Well, it's always been very important for me when traveling to be close to my people. So I always associate myself with the embassies. And I got rather close to the members. That's how I was able to wrestle up everything I needed from them. And even the cricket team, when the cricket team, High Commission 11 in London, were traveling, I traveled with them. I cook up a storm. I have one bag of food and the other one of drinks. So we did that. And I also used to supply them with lunches. I would cook at home during the time that I had a sick son who had rubella during pregnancy, and it affected him in 4 different ways. So I couldn't really work at the time. So when he go off to the nursery, I would cook up a storm and I supplied them with lunches. And I also did that in New York, pudding and sauce and cassava pone and cuckoo. You think about it, I do it.
And I know now that your commitment is to the St. Leonard's Church.
Yes.
Now you are retired and here at home in Barbados, and you still love to cook.
Yes, I do.
You're definitely my kind of lady. One bag with food and the other with drinks.
Yes.
Sounds like a party to me.
Yeah, party on the street.
But I want to thank you so much for sharing your memories. And I know there are lots of Barbadians who are very happy to hear these memories. And often when we share memories like this on Morning Barbados, we have so many people who call up and say, I remember that. Yes. I was a part of that. Yes. And it's important, as we were mentioning even before, to have these intergenerational and intra-generational conversations to ensure that we continue to share our culture and who we are, and share the stories for generations to come.
Yes.
Yeah? Wow. So thank you. Where are you heading when you leave me today?
I'm going home and prepare myself to do some
cooking.
Pumpkin fritters. I have to do pumpkin fritters in the morning for my church.
Pumpkin fritters?
Yes.
I haven't heard of pumpkin fritters in a minute.
The summer school, the Bible
for the kids at summer school?
Yes, the Bible studies.
I used to want to go to the Bible studies school all the time by the Seventh-day Adventist Church because they used to give you snacks.
Yes, so they've asked me to assist with that. So that's my morning treat tomorrow morning.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Welch, for coming and sharing with us. We definitely are going to stay in touch. Nice to see you in the flesh.
Finally, yes.
Yes.
And I'll continue watching.
You know, it's one thing to talk on the phone, another thing to connect with you in this way. And it's wonderful that we're kind of retransitioning to the studio as well. More stories to come. All right. So, I see that you've been sharing on Facebook as well. Yes. I told you it's truly a feel-good story. So good morning to the Barbados Police Service. I know that you guys work hard, as well as the band specifically. It's important for us to sometimes acknowledge the people who are doing a lot of work across the country. Hey, we're going to take another break. When we come back, more Feel Good on this Tuesday. We are talking to the Barbados team. They're looking to do the double. I'll tell you how after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, Email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Last year. All right, so the conversations continue. 11 minutes already before 8 o'clock. So I have to say good morning and welcome to a few very special people who are going to be heading off to Nassau, Bahamas, August 26th to 27th. To try to bring the gold back to Barbados once again for the second consecutive time at the Carifta Championships. Help me welcome Finn Armstrong and Isis Gaskin, team captains of the Barbados. Finn is captain of the Barbados Carifta Triathlon team.
We're joint captains.
You're joint captain?
A male and a female.
So I was almost
yeah,
right.
You were right.
All right, so welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so tell me how things have been shaping up. Now, I know for you, Finn, it's been a busy year. You had a good showing at the secondary school level with competition there, but I'm more interested in going back a little and telling me a little bit about how you got involved with sport generally, but this type of sport specifically.
Honestly, it sounds a little normal, but my mum forced me. I did football, not to any, every...
Did you just say my mum forced me?
My mum forced me.
Your mother is cringing.
No, but I did football to a extent. I wasn't anything of, great success.
No, Messi. Okay.
I wasn't too great, but I did it for fun, and they had the first ever triathlon Carifta held here in Barbados. And they were my aunt says we're looking for people. Finn he can swim right on. I know he'll make it through. So they were just come bring him, and I started. I was fine with it at first, but I really liked it the second year, because the second year I got to travel, and then that kind of made me want to start training a little more. And I wasn't good really for my first 3 years. I only got better. Really at the last Carifta is the first time I ever medaled, and this year hopefully we'll medal again.
And somewhere along the line you fell in love with it?
Yes, for the most part.
What about you, Isis?
Kind of a similar story, but I've been doing triathlon since I was 7, because BFIT had a kids series that happened every Sunday in the month, and since I was the right age, my dad and mom would take me down there and we would do triathlons for a long time. So eventually when that same first Carifta came up, we decided to do it, and I just kept at it since then, really.
All right, that's wonderful stuff. And now here you are, joint captains, heading off to Nassau, Bahamas. Talk to me about the team. It has almost doubled in size.
Yeah.
So last time you took about 13 people. This time around they're going to be about 26, 24 people who make up the team heading off to Bahamas. So, what has it been like preparing to head off? And I know there's no pressure to bring that title back home, bring gold to Barbados once again for the second consecutive time,
honestly, it's definitely more of a challenge, meeting all the newer people and having to show them what to do, because the usual group is a very close-knit group of people. Like, a lot of us train together and things, and now we're very sociable, at least others. We're not it's not discriminant, so it's fine with everybody coming in. We love it. We want to grow the sport in Barbados, and it's just dealing with more people. So you got, for team captains, for us, you always got to watch out for just make sure that you help with this person do this and just track everybody. But it's nice to have a bigger team, and the bigger team means just more people to help compete. And this year, a lot of the first years, there's a couple that I think will maybe not medal, but get in points positions. And it's just, I hope that they carry on with the sport and want to grow their capabilities, and that would in turn help us in the future. But I think our core of what won most of the medals last year is still together, so we're just as strong, and we added more, so we're stronger.
Yeah.
And this may sound a little prideful, but I'm only prideful in things I'm confident in with my sports, and I think we will bring it back.
All right, so there are a lot of people who might not be familiar with, some of the areas you'll be competing in. The aquathlon definitely is something new for me to think about. Only ever heard about it, the mixed relays championships, and of course the triathlon, as you talked about. So what are some of the major aspects of the competition that you're looking forward to next weekend?
Definitely it's meeting people is a lot of fun. Everybody from the Caribbean comes over, and there's always the opening ceremony, closing ceremony, where you just get to kind of make friends and just make new contacts for the future. And this competition itself is always exciting because you're in a new place. Bahamas is a very nice place, and it's just also getting used to just the stress of the triathlon, because as you go farther up in triathlon, it just becomes more and more stressful because it's 3 events in 2 days. So it's knowing how to recover well, knowing your teammates, and it's just a good experience overall.
What's your transition like? I know you go to school, high school in Trinidad, and you're still competing for Barbados. Woo woo. So, have you been able to transition well in terms of your training there and being able to reacquaint yourself with the team members here and things of that nature?
Yes, everybody in the team is very friendly and very open, so never really feel too much like an outsider. It's always nice to kind of mesh well with everybody and coming back in and doing triathlon.
All right, so this prideful talk here now, I want to hear from, starting with you, of course, Finn. What are you looking forward to on the individual level in terms of your performance, and then your team?
Obviously, I'm looking for gold. I had a little, as both of us came back from Junior Commonwealth, I got sick. Thankfully ISIS didn't, but definitely it's played a toll on my physical capabilities right now. So I don't feel as strong as I usually do, but I'm still going to give it my best effort. We're obviously going there. Barbados doesn't go for second, so we're going for first.
We're going for gold.
I'm going for gold. It's the only way to go, and that's the plan. If the plan works out, it'd be great. If not, I still gave it my best.
For sure. What about you, Captain Isis?
Well, last year I came third, so I'm really looking forward to improving that performance. I think I've come at least a little bit better than last year, so I'm hoping for another podium and hopefully a gold.
What is your training like throughout the year? I can only imagine for triathletes in preparation for the aquathlon. It must be pretty rigorous training. So talk to me a bit about that.
It's a lot because you have both school and training going on at the same time. So more often than not, you end up having to train kind of close to twice a day because it's all 3 disciplines and you have to get enough hours in all 3 different disciplines. You have to focus. You can't focus on one. You have to focus on all 3. So it definitely gets difficult at times, but it's something you get accustomed to doing all the sports in one day. So yeah.
Finn?
I as you said, balancing with school is not always the easiest. because when you come home, you wake up in the morning, wake up in the morning and you go train, and then when you come back from school, you have to go train again. So, and it's every morning, so you're going to bed early, so it's very hard to manage some stuff, and it just sometimes your body gets accustomed to it over time, but at first it's definitely something that is very taxing, I find.
All right, so this is some good stuff. It's going to be a very hectic weekend in all categories, you know, all the way from some of the more experienced team members, like you said, some of the youth who will be joining the team. I'm sure you're looking forward to how a lot of them will perform. Again, there are 24 athletes who are competing. Do you think I can get all the names in a minute?
Good luck.
I most certainly would like to try. So, and this might be suicide, because you know sometimes names, right? Yeah. So there is Zahara Lane. Did I get that right?
Zahara or Zajara, yes.
Sahara?
Zajara.
Oh man, you are laughing at me, Finn.
It's fine.
All right, Liam Beckles, Zach Gill, Aidan Lithcott, yes?
Yes.
The sisters Haley and Ali Banfield, Layla McIntyre, Kane Banfield, Luke McIntyre, Judah Hawks, Matthew Briggs Legal, Zinzile, Renwick Williams. Who else is there? There is, I think they're there, Nia Douglan, Janae Johnson, Alexis Lashley, Victory Bourne, Isabella Mears. Did I miss anybody? Carrie Banfield is the manager. Garth McIntyre is the manager as well. So I think I got a few of the people. Yeah. And joint team members, joint team captains, Finn Armstrong, Isis Gaskin. I wish you guys the very best. We certainly will be looking at you, and just to let you know, if you don't win gold, you can't come back to Barbados ever again. I'm kidding, no pressure.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be proud of you no matter what you do. So continue on this wonderful journey, and I know you can only get better. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'll continue to cheer for Finn on the sidelines of college sports. All right, great to have both of you in with us this morning and sharing as they get ready to head off to Goodman's Bay in Nassau, Bahamas, August 26th and 27th for the Carifta Championships. Of course, Finn Armstrong and Isis Gaskin, joint team captains of the Barbados team, heading off to participate. Hey, that's it from us for today. It's already 8 o'clock, so I just want to encourage you to remember to wear your smiles today. You don't know what you could do for someone else by just putting on a beautiful smile and keeping with those Bajan pleasantries. Good morning, how are you? Have a good day. They make people feel really good, but most importantly, they make you feel good as well. So on behalf of the entire team, go for the goal today, right? Yep. Yeah, you were supposed to say that with me. Go for the goal. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.